Texas, wherever you are. I hope you're doing fine. If you are watching this, please put live in the chat. Tell me how are you doing, and we'll get started with today's topic. Essentially, we will talk about happiness. You should be happy. The best way to do that is to change your habits, your attitudes, and your circumstances. Let me tell you something. I am a very happy person because I have been quite successful in doing what it takes to get me to where I want to be in life. You know, when we are born and grow up, usually a strong, deep desire is placed in our hearts. And that desire, over time, for a lot of people, is destructed because we believe that it is not possible to reach our fullest potential without disappointing others, without not staying in our lane. And that is something I'm going to speak to today. Let's see if we have our stream healthy here on LinkedIn and also on Facebook. Yes, so the best way to change is your habits, changing your habits. When I was a young boy, I had this deep desire in my heart to become a pilot. And if you ever have an idea and you want to know whether it is a good idea to base your whole life around it, then it's wise to try and see if you can try that, give it a trial run. That is important in life, and it's also very important in business. So before I would commit my entire life to being a professional pilot, I thought it would be a good idea to get my private pilot license. And that in Luxembourg, ironically, was possible even before obtaining the age of 18. I was 16 when I started flying airplanes, and I was 18 when I started practicing for my driver's license. Getting a private pilot's license requires you, at least in Luxembourg, but I am sure everywhere in the world, to pass a pretty rigorous theoretical test. For a 16-year-old, you have to master the concepts of aerodynamics. You have to know the rules of airspace regulation in your country. You have to know a good deal about physics and meteorology. So a lot of topics that you haven't really touched upon yet at the age of 16. However, because I knew that I had this goal in mind and that I would do whatever it takes to achieve it, I changed my habits. Most 16-year-olds, I would dare to say, spend their time playing, nowadays, I guess, playing video games, watching TV, playing sports, doing all kinds of fun things that 16-year-olds should do. But I knew that in order to obtain that private pilot's license, I had to change my habits. I had to start reading books about physics, aerodynamics, meteorology, aerodynamics, and that's exactly what I did. I found myself a flight school. I got the list of textbooks in advance, and pretty much during a whole year, there was nothing else I did than reading those books and practicing for those exams. That is clearly an example where I just drastically changed my habits in order to get to a goal that I knew would make me happier. Interestingly enough, while I was a hobby pilot, if you will, I found out pretty quickly that that was not going to be what I wanted to do for the rest of my life. Because as a pilot, you should know that really most of what you do after takeoff is controlling the airplane in a very calm manner so that you don't have a crash or get yourself into trouble. Landing, on the other hand, is a little bit more interesting. At least back in the day with the small airplanes, I flew a very small one-engine Cessna 152. There was no automatic landing or anything. But that was certainly a little bit more of an interesting part of flying. But for the most part, it was, you could almost say, boring, especially because my financial means were limited and I had to always stay within a certain radius. But yeah, that is at least a very good example of me showing you how, even at a young age, being persistent about something and changing your habits so that you can achieve a goal that was always something that I wanted. The other part, of course, that is a big one for me is my immigration to the United States. I always knew that that was something that I wanted to do. And I had to change my attitude and also create circumstances in which I could achieve that. So what's the attitude change that I had? Most people, when they have a goal like that, they want to get to their goal as quickly as possible. However, me, at that time, living in Luxembourg, without any legal means to stay in the United States permanently, I could not have known if I would ever achieve that goal. The only thing that I could do was change my attitude and also create a circumstance so that when the right time would come, I would be able to actually seize the moment and go forward. So in other words, the attitude change was the following. From being impatient and saying, well, if I can't have this now, then I'll just give up on it, I told myself, you're going to do whatever it takes to keep that dream in your heart and to work towards it. And what did that mean? Well, it meant that I started playing the so-called green card lottery, which is a lottery program organized by the United States, and certain people from a list of countries are eligible to participate in the lottery. And then if your name gets drawn, then you have a chance at getting a green card. But the thing is that you don't know how long it will take until your name gets drawn, and you don't know if your name ever gets drawn. So the attitude that I had in my mind is, well, I'll do what I can do for the time being, which is play in a green card lottery and wait and be patient. The official name, by the way, is Diversity Visa Lottery, not Green Card Lottery. So the circumstances, let's get to that part, because I want to go back at the initial statement, which is the best way to do that is to change your habits, attitudes, and circumstances. My circumstances were very clear. I had to be in a position where I would master the English language to the highest degree possible for me. That meant I started reading English books. I started taking English courses on the side, and I also became an avid learner of the English language. I was always the best student in my class. And the other aspect was that I started doing long distance studies with a university, Open University in the UK. So the other very important aspect here was that I knew that whenever the move to the United States would happen, it would cost me money, because I knew that I would have to do something that would put me in a situation where I would have to bridge a financial gap. When the moment came, I decided to become a student, and I attended university. So there was a pretty long time, I would say about 4 to 5 years, where I stopped earning an income. After having been a professional in Luxembourg, I went and took a long sabbatical to start my new part of my life in the United States as a student, so without income. So I knew that, and I created a circumstance for me where I had no debt and where I had financial means, financial savings set aside to prepare for that moment. The other aspect was also that I very consciously did not create any anchors back in Luxembourg, anchors of social structure or of like family structure, right? I did not found a family, and I didn't create anything or join anything or cause anything to hold me back, which was a very egocentric thing to do back then, but it was the right thing to do for me, because I knew that I needed to have circumstances that would allow me to take action on something that would really truly lead to happiness, and that is immigration to the United States, which an immigration is rarely possible if you have a set of circumstances at home that just prevent you from doing that. And that is true in life in general. With any wish and any happiness factors that we want to reach, we've got to be in a set of circumstances where we have the freedom and flexibility to take advantage when the opportunity comes. And that is something that is not easy to do, because it requires awareness, and it requires a certain dose of self-esteem, of putting yourself first, of saying no to a lot of things that society just thinks it's time for you to do that, right? So this is just one of the many things that I am really good at when it comes to achieving happiness, changing my habits, creating circumstances that lead towards achieving happiness, and then also recognizing the habits I need to have in order to change my circumstances, right? That is the habits that will lead to success. So again, if you agree with all that I said, please type yes in the chat. I definitely want to see what you put out there on your social media. I want to follow you and stay in touch with you. I also want to offer you the opportunity to talk with me in depth about a certain topic that you want to address, whether that is tackling something big in life, like an immigration or a change of job, or maybe going back to school. And also, of course, I am a business owner, relatively successful, at least from my perspective. You know, we have a team of 12 people here in San Antonio. We're on track this year to reach $1 million in revenue, which is not bad. So if you want to talk business, if you have a business idea that you want to run by me, or you just are in this pandemic time and you have to kind of change the way you earn an income, and you don't really know where to start, you have ideas, but you just need advice, then that is also something that I'm available to. So both links are in my are hidden here in behind my QR code, or you can go to this URL and then book an appointment with me. It would be a pleasure for me to help you. All right, let's see if there were any reactions on social media, and if not, you can always leave those when the live stream has ended. I will certainly go back and take a look at everything. I don't see anything on LinkedIn, and then let me see on my Facebook. I don't see anything here either. Which is fine. Sometimes when it comes to thinking about topics like these, it's not easy to immediately know whether you want to talk about it or not, whether you want to take a leap of faith and start something that brings change in your life, right? But I'm here for you. It's really one of the things that makes me happy as well, is guiding others in achieving happiness in life and also in business. I really like giving advice when it comes to business because I'm quite qualified for it. Again, don't forget that you have been given desire and vision and longing in your heart, and it's something that you should not give up on. If you give up on those things, then what's life worth living for, right? You owe it to yourself to at least give it a try, and to at least fail once, maybe twice, maybe 3 times. But those who try often, they will often find success at some point. It's all about doing. Ideas are cheap and come quick, but setting yourself in motion and trying to actually execute on ideas, that's what really difficult. And hopefully I can be part of that and help you with that. That's it. I think I'm gonna stop this live stream now. Hope you have a wonderful Saturday evening and night, and I'll see you very soon again here on this platform. Bye for now.